Welcome to the next episode of Growing Consultancies. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Melanie King of ADP. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, absolute pleasure. So me and Mel have known each other for a long time. I think at one point you were as a client, then as a competitor, then as a client. So basically Mel's another. Well, started out as a recruiter, but we're going to talk about your journey a bit beyond that, aren't we?
Yeah. It's been a journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I guess let's dive straight in there in terms of your initial background, Mel. So did you do anything before being a recruiter?
Nope. Yeah. So I studied English literature at university,
Yeah.
and then, as we all do, fell into recruitment.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's a career pathway these days.
Yeah. Well, I think more so.
Well,
interestingly.
Yeah. So and then my first sort of gig was with Anders Elite, so a big American corporate as they were at the time, and it was structural engineers I was hiring in the southwest of England. So I've always been in construction.
Okay, cool.
And I quite liked the juxtaposition of, like, I suppose, the salesy element of recruitment versus the geeky technical element of engineers as they were, engineers as they are now, and QSs in between, and all sorts. So I've loved the industry, so I've stayed in it. Yeah. And I've taken a slight turn away from recruitment more recently. Yeah.
So obviously, I'm trying to think now, a few years back, but you're running your own small business.
I did. Yeah.
And you're always very well regarded, as you know. As you know, Mel, we've got like me and you spoke many times on this. There are certain recruiters whose names we will not mention.
No.
I don't want to.
No names mentioned.
Everyone getting angry with us, but some are clearly not very good at what they do, and others are, and others treat people like a human being and try
absolutely.
and get a good outcome for the individual.
Yeah, and I think it's always the long game for me. So, that's right. I had my own business, as you well know, in terms of, you putting everything on the line with that. And whilst I didn't scale it up, I did enjoy nearly 8 years of doing that and building some really long-term relationships. And some of those relationships I'm still, tapping into, many of them. So,
brilliant.
Always about the longer-term game.
Yeah. And so, at what point in your head did you start thinking, I need to do something different? I'm not going to do this forever.
Yeah. Well, it was COVID. I had my babies all during that 8-year period, and was ticking along very nicely. A nice lifestyle business, really. And one of my clients at the time, who was sort of bringing people over to the States, MGAC, the owner of that business decided he wanted to acquire a UK business, and it so happened that they had a Brighton office. So as they were, RLF were acquired by MGAC. They had a London office, a Brighton office. I lived in Brighton, and it seemed a little bit like serendipitous, I suppose, in terms of I was a bit bored, maybe ready for the next challenge. So so I took a role. So they created a new role for me for that business, and I worked out with the Brighton office. And really enjoyed that for a couple of years. Yeah.
And that was very more people-centric, wasn't it?
So, I mean, recruitment is my bread and butter, and I've done very well out of it, and I've loved it for a long time. However, I was bored, and so I decided to dip my toe into HR, with no real HR background.
And for anybody who's not watching, typically recruiters and HR do not get on, do they? as a general rule of thumb.
They can, they're different types of people generally.
Sure,
and it's one of those. The role did evolve. The business grew, and the HR side sort of dropped away. But I did, like I say, dip my toe in that from a more employee relations and strategic point of view, less legislative or compliance.
Yeah, okay.
Because that's definitely not me.
Yeah.
But can't even maintain my own ATS. So, however, I got some really great experience with that and learn, different things and different angles. And then I suppose from there, this again, every move I've made has always been quite a fatalistic type of move, whether you believe in that or not. It's not necessarily anything I've been actively looking for. So, and then this, I suppose, opportunity came up with ADP, whereby there was a vision of bringing together recruitment and business development, in that if you are, the theory being, you're engaging talent, you're engaging clients, they're very similar skills. So especially having been a business owner, albeit, it was just myself, but therefore, clearly, my business development skills had to be honed even more so than your average recruiter working in an agency environment. So, you're going out there, you're engaging clients, you're building relationships, and whether that be to attract staff in or to bring business in, it's kind of one and the same to some extent, you could argue. So, ADP, really forward thinking in that regard in terms of basically creating a brand new role around, I suppose, my rather unique skill set in that regard, in terms of it's not an average kind of position. And
so how did they come by you, Mel? How did they find you in the first place?
So I spent 8 years nearly in Australia, and I knew the ADP brand from over there, and I knew a couple from the leadership team there. So when they then ADP launched in London just over 2 years ago, and I had attended an event through some mutual connections, and their CEO at the time, Belinda Coates, her and I suppose, stayed in touch thereafter, after ADP quickly opened. And I suppose it was born from there, really. And it was a bit of a LinkedIn relationship, to be fair, because whilst I knew Belinda whilst I was back in Australia, and I'd heard of ADP and I knew a couple of people in there, I didn't know them well or personally. It was one of those sort of digital online relationships that then came to fruition in the flesh. Yeah.
So that's really useful for people to hear, actually.
Nice segue,
Yeah, absolutely, because as you know, I'm on LinkedIn a lot, and it generates me a lot of income. But equally, I've always loved your content on LinkedIn and the way you do it. And I think in some ways, hopefully, me and you have a fairly similar attitude about just being really decent but honest, try and give decent advice. Yeah. Lift the hood a little bit so people understand a bit about you as a person as well as part of the process. What's your dog called?
Oscar.
He's regular co-host of your.
Yeah, he was a soft launch for me on LinkedIn. This is it. It was one of those whereby at the time no one was really doing any videos or definitely not podcasts. Yeah. It was quite new, and I just thought, I've got nothing to lose. I'm going to just do a video of me walking the dog on the beach and talking about how to negotiate a pay rise or whatever it might be. So, and I put it out there, and it's horrible, and I don't think anybody loves doing it. It might look like I enjoy doing it. I don't. I get still really nervous, but and I think the difference was that I wasn't scripted with it. I would I used to take sort of about 8 edits because I would jumble my words and nowadays, I kind of already know what I'm going to say, and it's a bit more comfortable. But I stopped doing them for a while in the middle, and then I had quite, it's quite flattering. But a lot of people said, look, you should still do that sort of content. So I've started it back up again. Yeah.
But the point being, that led you, in essence, to this.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I think, whatever your role, whether you work in recruitment or business development or engineering, or if part of your remit is to grow something, then LinkedIn, as you well know, I'm preaching to the converted, but I couldn't have had my own business or the level of success that I've had without LinkedIn. It's very underutilized, and anybody at any level can be using it. I should work for LinkedIn, really.
Get some commission.
But for a free resource, it is still so untapped, and even I go on it all the time, every day. And yet I still think, there's so much more I could be doing with it, following up, looking at it. You could spend your entire life on it, really. And so, it's from a growth or a business development perspective, it is invaluable. And a personal branding thing as well, which has ultimately probably, helped me to date.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we touched a little bit about this leading up to the discussion. Yeah. Do we think that more recruiters should move into more of a kind of business development role? Do you see that as being more of a potential trend out there?
Yeah, I've met with a lot of my old clients. Obviously, ADP are a building services engineering firm, and we're working in partnership with many QS and PM firms and businesses that you would know. So I've reconnected with a lot of that network, and it is interesting because obviously the market, has been quite slow, and it's a real tricky balance between people, I suppose, senior leaders within businesses being out in the market winning work and then actually delivering it. Yeah. And again, that capacity or that appetite for actually getting out and doing business development in inverted commas is varied in the market. And I think, but some small businesses, or most small businesses, are not going to then be able to afford or to justify taking somebody on in either a business development, pure BD focused role, or a talent acquisition role. So that was the notion behind this, and I think it is quite a good fit. And I've actually, since I've sort of explained it to people, you could see they're sort of thinking, "Oh, actually, that's quite a nice way of doing it." You know, perhaps save on the odd recruitment fee. Sorry. And you know, but they're, you know, generating business, and it's I think for someone like myself, it's a really nice, very diverse day job as well. Like my job is, you know, really quite all encompassing. So
good.
I wouldn't be surprised if more businesses do start to think about it potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And I think kind of a amalgamation of a couple of things we discussed there. I think just generally both marketing and / business development, more consultancies I think should be doing more of that, because I think a lot of them traditionally it's relied on the EPs or the directors to go out there and win the work, whilst they're also responsible for delivering the quality of work, managing a team, etc.
Yeah.
And I think some businesses fail because just frankly these individuals are kind of probably juggling too many things and they can't do all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think ADP Consulting have definitely been really progressive with that in terms of hiring me at the time that they did. So Dan Johnson, who's our regional director in the UK, he, I mean, he's done an amazing job. We've seen some incredible growth, you know, globally and within the London office over the last 2 years since opening. But indeed, he has literally had to wear all those hats, and the resilience that, you know, he's had to get to this point has been huge. So, I think ultimately bringing somebody in like myself at this point in time to help ease that pressure, because for the last few months, for example, we've had a couple of really big projects that, you know, are more senior leaders, and we are ultimately, you know, our directors are hands-on as well. We're that size where that has to be the case.
Absolutely,
And they want to be, you know, it is director-led in that regard. So they've been just head down and delivery, and therefore I've been able to take the pressure off in terms of going out and, you know, winning work.
Yeah, brilliant. No, that's good.
So to speak.
That's good. And so how have you found that transition into doing that? And you know, what have you found as being relatively, I don't know if easy is the right word, but, you know, is within your comfort zone versus what have you had to learn and develop?
Yes, yeah, it's a good question. So I suppose it's very natural for me to go out to people I already know in the market, and, you know, build those relationships. And again, I'm very much about that longer term relationship. So it's building an authentic partnership in that regard, and that's fine. That's something I'm very comfortable with, and that I really missed actually in my previous role, you know, not being externally facing so as much. So I've that's been fine. What I have had to learn is actually more about what we do.
Right. Okay.
Because as a recruiter, I mean, some recruiters, I don't know, I think you probably fall into this camp, have a much more comprehensive, you know, understanding technically of what people do.
Possibly, albeit I couldn't do a job of a QS or a PM, I suppose.
No, no, but you know, in terms of retaining that or having an interest in it, if I'm completely honest, you know, I've had nearly 25 years worth of a career in an industry that I've worked in back to front, you know, any type of role within that industry I've recruited for, to be fair, but I've probably only ever had a surface level understanding, and I have always been quite frank about that. I guess we to be an expert.
A lot of what we do, I think, as recruiters is, and again, without doing me a disservice, you in your own role as a service, a lot of it is marrying characters together and going, right, you know what, you know, we can ask some technical questions to ascertain a certain level, but generally speaking, if I don't know, if someone's a chartered QS working for one of the bigger players, hopefully goes out saying that they should know what they're doing job-wise. So then it's like, right, okay, I think this individual would work really well with this business.
It was our place to put them together, exactly. So. But that said, you see, when I'm actually going and selling our services, so I've reached that point whereby it's nice to have a sort of a light touch across the industry, and you know, I've met with so many different contacts since starting 6 months ago, and now I'm at the point whereby I'm saying to Dan, I'm saying to Jackson and a couple of other more senior leaders, I actually need a bit of a a cheat sheet's not even the right word, because I actually need to have a proper understanding
Yeah,
of what we actually do.
And building service is very complex, wasn't
Well,
it?
it
By
is,
nature of the different inputs into a building.
But for example, I did go on a recent sort of office tour, and was being shown actually physically what, the tangibility of what we as MEP engineers,
right,
and on the sustainability side as well, we do offer that. So it's nice to be able to see something in action and working, rather than just reading it on a CV, for example.
Yeah, brilliant.
So yeah, that will be my focus for the next few months, is to just become a little bit more
amazing.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
Compliant in that.
And so let's concentrate on ADP. We've obviously not discussed them yet. So obviously a much bigger operation in Australia.
Yep. So founded in Australia, 2011, and our sort of core services at that time was MEP and sustainability advisory as well.
Okay.
So have a huge sustainability team, and we've grown globally very quickly. Opened up the London office 2 years ago.
Okay.
So. And we're fully multidisciplinary. As in Australia, we cover every service line pretty much within every sector. There was an acquisition last year with IESA Engineering, who are a very large Spanish global engineering firm, and the growth that we've leveraged from that has been exceptional. So I think we doubled our size in 3 years, something like that. So 25% growth last year.
Wow. Okay.
So there's 370 plus in Australia. So yeah, and that was part of the attraction for me, if I'm honest, because having spent a long time in Australia, I do understand the Australian market. It was a nice touch for me to be able to work with an Australian business.
And will that see you having to go over there periodically at all?
We'll see. Hopefully, maybe later this year. Yeah.
Yeah, so you got to really fully embrace the culture.
Yeah.
You can't do that unless you're there, can you?
That's it. Yeah. I'm working on it.
Yeah, amazing. Good. Excellent. And then plans for the UK in terms of further expansion?
Yeah. So as a business here, I suppose the structure is Dan is the regional director within the UK, and he reports directly to the founding directors. And then, like I say, I think we're approaching 15 people now across MEP and sustainability. So we've just made our first hire for a senior, the second director in on the sustainability side, with the idea of, I suppose, mirroring that same sustainability-led approach that we have in Australia, and also to take it and, for Chris Vallis has just joined us to do his own thing with that as well, and evolve that rather than it just being an add-on service to MEP, which is what many of our competitors do. So we will be looking at other sectors. I mean, commercial fit-out is probably 80% of what we do currently. Right. But in the last year, we've sort of stuck a flag in other sectors, residential, wellness, buzzword, bit of life sciences. And we're looking to do more of that as well. So, which is part of my role in terms of diversifying into other sectors and maybe adding some service lines as well to bolster some of the core services we offer. So,
the exciting thing
world's
for
our oyster.
Well, I think it is at the moment. The exciting thing for MEP is that, generally speaking, any type of building now, the percentage of overall project spend, the MEP element of that is increasing as we try to push for sustainable buildings. The whole movement around reuse, don't demolish a building, all that kind of stuff. A lot of the spend to make those buildings work is MEP. These days, increasingly so. Yeah,
and I think leveraging off our parent company, sort of IESA, they do a lot more, I suppose, large infrastructure, things like airports, so complex. Heavy civils projects, data centres as well. That's a service line that we've added as a sector in Australia, and it's just gone gangbusters in the last 12 months. Again, all heavily MEP led there. So I think there's more and more demand, and I think what I am noticing since joining the MEP sector is that actually, speaking candidly, I think a lot of MEP engineers get a bit of a bad reputation there in terms of a sector. There's not loads of people doing it really well. So I'm not sure what that's down to yet. Perhaps data centres is sucking up every electrical engineer
quite possibly
in the world.
Well, double your salary coming to the data centre market. Albeit a lot of, I think there's some slight pushback there now that I think some people are going, I don't just want to do data centers. So there's an interesting mix there.
Yeah, there
I think
is.
some people love data centers
Yeah.
and will forever stay in it. Others go, you know what, I'd like more variety, and maybe as much as the money's good, this is maybe not for me.
Yeah, we will. I mean, like I say, we cover it heavily, expansively in Australia, and there's a huge market for it, and we're doing it well. And I think in the UK, it will be inevitable that we do end up doing it. But I think you kind of can't dip your toe in that market. It's all or nothing. So
I think you've got to invest.
Yeah,
in it,
it's got to be the right time and the right place. For us to jump in on that.
Yeah, good. And so I think you've pretty much landed and come here, but are you looking forward to MIPIM? Because I think you said you've been many years ago, and this is your...
Came many years ago, yeah. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I have literally just landed. So
well, thank you for coming.
I was curious
really
to see.
it.
No, it's great. It seems that I would say the sunshine with me from the UK, but that's not remotely true. But the rain has cleared up for us, which is lovely. So I'm looking forward to it. I've got a real mix of things ahead and events and things. So it should be fun.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, Mel, thank you for coming on board. I hope that you become continue to be a trailblazer for what you're doing in terms of making those adjustments and doing different things. And the ADP grows. Obviously, it sounds like a very successful business in Australia. Good backing now with the kind of parent company, and we'll see what comes of the UK market.
Yeah. Well, good.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mel.
Cheers.